Evening to everyone. And today we are going to learn something about, let's say, network slicing. Uh, this is like basically the topics we'll learn about are moreover from, you can say, the 5G, the upcoming radio technology. So we'll have a deep dive into network slicing. Next to that, we'll move towards network function virtualization. And further on, we'll come to see what exactly is Open RAN. So throughout this webinar, you'll come across these following topics. We'll see what exactly is 5G, an introduction to that. Next to that, we'll come to see the overview of network slicing. After that, we'll try to understand that how does network slicing actually takes place in a 5G network. So we'll come to see about the architecture about that. Now, when we'll study network slicing, so we'll also come to see there are several layers which are not actually like the physically existing layers, but the network layers. So that we'll come to see. Apart from that, we'll proceed towards network function virtualization because these are interrelated topics. After that, we'll also see when we talk about network slicing and network function virtualization. So when these two topics are studied by any individual, so they must have a know-how of what exactly is software-defined network, how that like from where it is originated, how does it came into existence, what is its utilization or importance, and random access network, you can say, or the radio access network. So we'll study something about the Open RAN. After Open RAN, we'll come to know something about what exactly is Open RAN and telecom infra. We'll proceed towards learning of its architecture, and further towards the end of the session, we'll come to see what is the benefits of Open RAN. So first of all, let me start with what exactly is 5G. So you must have heard of that there was a time when the even the computers or the systems were of a size of a room. But now today you can manage everything just over a palm top or over your tab. Similarly, there was a time when telecommunication was introduced. So first of all, let me tell you what exactly is telecommunications. This is made by two different words. One is tele, another one is communication. Tele is something wherein you connect two devices or two people who are located at a far distance, like those who are not face to face, or you can say in front of each other. Now that far distance could be even 100 meters and could be even 100 miles or more than that. So there was a time we used to play in our childhood by using some matchboxes. That okay, that you tie a string between two different matchboxes, and one person was about to speak something from one side, another person could hear. So from how does this all takes place? We have been observing these things. Next to that, we have seen that okay, as we proceed further, 1G was there, first generation of networks. When that was not sufficient, we have moved towards second generation. Next to that, third. After that is fourth, and the last one, the currently the evolving one is 5G. Now, what led to introduction of 5G, or why we are you like in a world we are living, we why we are trying to build something on a 5G? Why we were not satisfied with 1G? As the world is transforming or the entire globe is moving towards a different manner, so you have come to see that the need of speed, basically. There's a game also, NFS. Most of you are familiar with that. So similar the concept applies here also, that the speed, everyone wants to move very faster. They don't have time, they just want to save their time. Let us assume a world wherein you are getting such cabs which are driverless. You are getting such smart cities where once there is a sunset, automatic street lights are on. Let's say you move to some different mall or some like that kind of places, and there is an automated parking over there. Is no one to take like give you some parking slip or should guide you for something. So that seems very easy for us, no? In order to gain all these things, we need some speed, and speed as in like interconnectivity. Let's say two devices should be connected with each other in a very firm manner. It should not be like that, that they are not connected that much in a proper manner that they get disconnected at some times. Why I'm using this word connectivity in two different ways is that this is basically, you can say, the end to end adjoining of those two particular devices, or let's say point A, point B is having such a feasible connectivity. That means they should manage each other. Now, coming back to the slide, you can see, as I have mentioned, the communication is a very essential part. So now you came to understand why is it so. I've also told you that we started evolving from first generation and we moved towards the 5G. Okay. Now, any connectivity, whatever it can be, let's say if you tie a rope at one end, you want to use that rope at some other end. You pretty make sure something that that rope should not get untied from the first end. So that means you wish to have something which is reliable. Now you wish to have that the rope is capable enough of taking some load. That means you are concerned about some security also. Similar is the concept in our 5G also. Basically, you need a reliable, secure, and a faster communication. In order to achieve each and every this thing, we have introduced. Now, there might be a question in several of your minds that why can't we have same thing in 1G? Why can't we have same thing in 2G? Or let's say in 3G. 3G was also quite faster, and still some service providers in India offer you 3G, and even LT is not up to the reach of everyone. Only after the introduction of Reliance Jio, you can say the LTE was widespread. But until that, it was too costlier for people to afford. Then what about 5G? Will people be able to afford that? So I can say a very big yes for this. Now, why this has been introduced? The reason for that is there was a time when you were only able to make voice calls. At the same time, you can't use the internet. Even to get the text message was not that easier at the same moment. But when 3G came into existence, this was improvised. But that was also having a limited speed of 152 Mbps. Sorry, 153 Mbps. So, in order to overcome that, we have created a different technology known as long term evolution, which is a 4G. Now, when you talk about 4G, everything was fine, but you cannot connect the machines with each other. Let's say if you want to have, let me give an example to you. For example, if you want to have a driverless car in your city, in your town, so 4G is not that enough because you need a grid or you can need a very, very fast speed to have the same thing, right? So that is the major thing we have introduced now 5G. So hopefully you guys might have come to understand that why we have introduced 5G or why we are working that hard for 5G. So as in the today's webinar, we'll come to see three different topics. So the first one of them is network slicing. Now, what exactly is slice? You everyone is familiar that what exactly is a slice. Slice means a bit or piece of something. Let's say you understand a cheese slice means you can not consume the entire quantity at a time, so you make the small pieces in order to make efficient and effective utilization of that particular eatable. The similar concept is applied in technology also. 5G is providing you a very, very fast speed. It's quite fast. So the entire 5G network can provide you several applications at the same time, but they can only provide you the same thing when you make the effective utilizations. Let me share another example with you. Every one of you might be using a laptop. Now, in your laptop, it might be i3, i5, i7, or i9 processor. Now, it must be having some RAM. Okay, it may be having, let's say, 8 GB, 12 GB, or 16 GB of RAM. So, whenever you go and open the process of your system, you'll come to see how much is actually the utilization. It's hardly, you can say, 5 to 10% of your processor, and maximum is 50 to 60% of your RAM. So you are underutilized in that case. Means you have the capacity, but you don't utilize it, right? So in that case, you are paying something more, and then you cannot utilize it properly. But in 5G, we have a different concept. First of all, is that you have a pay as you go model. Means whatever you wish to use, you have to pay only for that much. You don't have to pay for entire one. If you're hiring a cab to go from, let's say, one city to another city, does you don't have to pay the cost for entire car for, let's say, 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs. You just have to pay some amount of 500 or 1000 rupees, depends. So that means you're using the services. So pay as you go model suggests you that whatever the services you will use, accordingly you have to pay for that. You don't have to think about any wear and tear or any operation and maintenance or anything. You don't have to think about. So coming back to network slicing is nothing but effective utilization of your 5G network by dividing into different layers and allocating the different layers for a different purpose. Means one of them will be serving your IoT devices, another would be serving your communications services, the another one would be serving some other features. So this is what is supposed to be known as your network slicing. In the second statement, you can see that disaggregation of same network into multiple layers is known as network slicing. Another thing I would like to notify you is that network slicing concept has been only introduced once your 5G is coming into existence. 5G was never able, or it was not being it was not there when you say about in 3G or 4G network. So basically that's why we have introduced network slicing in 5G network. Now, as I told, assigning different functions at different layers in a 5G network so that communication becomes more faster and increases the ease of control. If there are four people in a family and they are supposed to do eight different tasks, and if you assign two to each one of them, they can be done easily, effectively, that they are not that much time consuming. But if you like ask a single person or just two persons to do each and everything, it may be very much of the time consuming. So that's why we have introduced the term network slicing. Now let's see what exactly is network slicing. So this is your a commercially available 5G network which is yet to come in India, and like it is available in some of the countries as of now. Basically, the trials and the POCs are still ongoing for this, but yeah, as of now, it's not available everywhere. So as you can see in between, there is a IP cloud of your 5G network. Why it's IP cloud? As I have told you, 5G is purely based on pay-as-you-go model. Means you can use whatever you want and you just have to pay for that. Now, we have a mobile broadband slice, Internet of Things slice, there may be mission critical IoT slice and other slices would be there. Now, as you can see there, automotive, medical, infrastructure. These are your critical IoT slices, basically the machines. Why it is so? I'm talking about this particular point, the third one. Okay, because these particular elements or machines, or you can say the requirements, are one which needs the most reliable and the lowest latency. Latency is basically your delay. There should not be delay into this. Let's say you want some medical facility, so you want it always immediately because that is something life saving. In part of, you can say, automations, you can say somewhere, then in case of automation, you want the moment you have given the command, you wish to get it executed. So that's why it is supposed to be known as mission critical IoT slice. Now the topmost one is your mobile broadband slice. I'll not say that it you can bear the delay here or the latency here, but yeah, if in case it occurs, it is bit acceptable. So anywhere your communication, your entertainment, your internet, let's say if you are watching Amazon Prime, and suddenly if there is somewhat of buffering while you watch any movie, any web series or any TV show, so that is acceptable. Acceptable as in, like, if it gets delayed to like play by some 30 seconds or 1 minute, that's okay. It is not something of immediate action. Basically 5G once available across the globe, you won't face that kind of issues. But yeah, we can say that like that. Now to next to that is your massive IoT sliced. What is massive IoT slice? Any your retail, shipping, manufacturing, these kind of things. For example, machine to machine communication is being taking place. For example, if you put an any online order, it does not gets you delivered immediately. It will take, they have a time period of some, let's say, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, depends how they wish to take it. So accordingly, your massive IoT slice is being named here. Why massive IoT? Because it is directly communication between your machine to machine. As you can see in the picture also, the sorting or something being done into a mega mart or into some stores is being done. So it means they are picking up some boxes, putting from one point to another point. So that is our massive IoT slice. And the last but not the least one, other slices. As you can see, this is a kind of your others. You can example take of a train engine. If you want to improvise the signaling system in the railways, so or you want to improve the speed of the trains, or if you wish to provide the internet connectivity to all the passengers, those who are traveling, so those all kind of features are available under the feature of your other slices. So now you came to understand we have one single 5G network, and in order to utilize its entire bandwidth, what we have done, we have divided it into four different parts: mobile broadband, massive IoT, mission critical, and other slices. And what we have done, as per the requirement of application, we have made this particular disaggregation, or we have just bifurcated it, and accordingly, the tasks are being performed. So this is basically your network slicing architecture. Now, while giving you the introduction, I told you that we'll come to see what exactly are layers. So hopefully, if you guys might have heard of TCP/IP model, or let's say OSI model, taking that image into your mind, you just see what exactly is that. So basically, these having a bidirectional communication with each and every layer does not mean that something would start flowing from the base and would go up to the top, or would something would be coming from the top and would go down. It's nothing like that. So basically, what exactly is this? The basic one is our infrastructure layer. Infrastructure layer means a layer which provides you the basic radio access network, or the transport network, or the core network. See, in any telecommunication technology, even you talk about from 1G, 2G, or up to 5G, these three are your basic elements. Why basic elements? Radio access network is one which is directly accessible by the end users, means the subscribers. Transport network means when you talk about the optical fiber or Ethernet cable, or you talk about the radio waves, EM waves. And the core network is something which is the backbone of your entire that technology, which is at the back end. You will never come to see until unless you are a part of some telecommunication industry. But basically, yeah, it is the major one which handles, or which is, you can say, the brain of your entire technology, which governs the entire network. So these together form your basic infrastructure. Any kind of hardware, software, what is being laid down can only operate or can only work when you have these three working together: radio, transport, and core. On the top of that, we have network function layer. What exactly is network function? So there might be several kind of network functions which might be working. Network functions like you have a routing, you have a switching, routing, then you have you can say several protocols, then you have to decide that okay, what will be the bandwidth, through which path should it flow. So these are basically kind of the network functions. On the top of network functions, we have a service layer. Okay, service layer is one which is directly accessible by the user, you can say. Virtual mobile operator, third party service provider. So these are the functions that are being provided in your service layer. Now your network controller is a controller, or let's say is an orchestrator, which is directly connected with all three layers. Now network, whatever the network slice, as I have shown you in the previous slide, whatever the network slice or whatever the function is being operated, accordingly it is being controlled by your orchestrator or network slice controller at whichever layer it works. It is managing all three layers simultaneously. So these are your three major layers which are being controlled by some orchestrator. You can also say network slices controller to perform the function of network slicing. Now the next topic for the day is network function virtualization. So hopefully you guys know what exactly is a network. The interconnecting of different devices through different mediums is basically known to be a network. Now, what exactly is virtualization? Now, these days, due to COVID, you must have seen that even the students or more of the tasks are being done by, let's say, you without the physical presence of that particular person over that place. It means the same task could be performed using the technology without your particular physical presence. That means you have just shown your presence virtually over there. Now, when we talk about network function virtualization, so what exactly is network function virtualization? Whatever network functions were performed by dedicated hardware, and for each and every different function you have to present, or you can say you must have a dedicated hardware, dedicated software, dedicated operation maintenance. In order to avoid all that, once you create a top layer, or you can say with the creation of top layer means the controlling mechanism is being now performed centrally or is being centralized. So that particular phenomena is known as your virtualization. In the very first statement, you can see the mechanism of abstracting, or the process by which network functions are virtualized. Means, let's say, if into your college, university, or organization, you might be having some 10 different servers who must be having their own capacity. Okay. Now you must be seeing some of them are overutilized, some of them are optimized, some of them are underutilized. Now, if you combine all together, create a virtual layer on the top of them. Once a virtual layer is created, what I'll tell you what exactly is that virtual layer. Okay, now the all of them are combined together. Now they don't, for individual servers you don't have to put any commands, you don't have to execute them separately. You are controlling them by a centralized brain. Means now they cannot take their own decision, the servers cannot take their own decision. Either those server were a router, switch, hub, or whatever it can be. When they are all together combined, the controlling mechanism is centralized. Now all of them are effectively utilized. Let's say A, B, C, D, or let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like there were 10 servers. Now if you see that one is overutilized, you can transform its load to 6. If 6 is underutilized, okay, you can just share more things on that. Similar process is being done across all 10. But when they were operating separately, you have to look after each and every 10. And in order to manage the 10 servers, you have at least 3 to 4 persons. So that all can be minimized. Okay. In the second most statement, as you can see, NFV or network function virtualization is enabling the software based control over the physical nodes. So as I told, among all 10 servers, you have created a software layer on the top of them, which is not a physical layer, or you cannot go and see a physical layer over top of them. They all are controlled using some set of software. There are organizations who have created such softwares into different languages, let's say R, Python, Java, whatever the language it can be, through which you are controlling all those servers. Now, why it has been introduced? As I told, is ease of handling the nodes. Like whatever the hardware is underlying does not make any difference. You are controlling them centrally. It is very much cost effective for you because you are using all of them equally. Now, probability of virtualizing both hardware and further operating system as well in form of containerized network function, or you can say cloud native function. Cloud native function is an advanced version. When you will study about the cloud, you'll come to see basically in which your operating system is virtualized. Currently, we were virtualizing your hardware. That means whatever the underlying hardware was there, we were just virtualizing that hardware, putting a top software layer over them. Okay, so using some set of commands. Now, even if we virtualize that particular operating system, now that is supposed to be known as a container. Container is nothing but just a box inside which you put your belongings or your things for the time you wish to use, and after that you can delete it from there. Or let's say, take an example, you might be having a bucket in your home, you put some water into that, you use that water for some X purpose, after that your bucket becomes empty. So that is more easy for you, right, rather than you going and using the entire water tank, which is very difficult for you to handle and use. Similar is the concept of your container. Now, what exactly is a software defined network? Let me explain you. People usually get confused what exactly is network function virtualization and software defined, because they go in parallel with each other. So what exactly is software defined network? See, as I told you, there were 10 servers. So 10 servers might be using different kind of topologies. They might be using different kind of protocols. Now, once you have centralized them, see that particular process is known as the network function virtualization. Okay, but the network which is governing all those particular servers, the decoupling of your control and packet forwarding planes in the network means, first of all, the underlying hardware is virtualized using some set of softwares, and next to that, the topology which is being used on the top of them, or how the data would flow from point A to point B.